Hey guys, oh my god, it is a new cycle, and yes, we are gonna have a 2-week wait this cycle, yay! But I have a few things I want to touch upon in this video, and they are as follows. I want to talk about my crazy ovulation situation this cycle. I want to talk about the 2 things we did differently this cycle, just to document them in case they make a difference. And number 3, I want to talk to you guys about this horrible letter I got from the hospital regarding my miscarriages, which I guess I just want to vent about. And I want to ask you what you guys might have expected to get in your respective countries, because maybe this is just a cultural thing and I'm taking it too personally, but let's dive in. Here is my BBT chart, and the ovulation situation that happened this cycle, it was weird because I accounted for cycle day 1 in a different way this month. This chart says that today I'm cycle day 11, but up until yesterday, I actually said that cycle day 1 was August 16th and not August 15th, which would have made me only cycle day 10 today. I did that because I didn't start to actively miscarry until August 16th. On August 15th, I had a lot of cramping, I had a little bit of spotting in the afternoon, and then I started a light flow, but only at the end of the day at 7 or 8 p.m. It was enough for me to go to bed with a pad on, but I just decided to account for cycle day 1 as the next day, because, I don't know, normally I would have said August 15th was cycle day 1, because normally anytime I actually start to see bright red blood, that is cycle day 1 for me. I don't know why I chose to do it differently this time. I think it was just because it happened so late in the day. Anyway, it makes a difference, okay? And the difference is because this cycle I also decided to not start testing OPKs on cycle day 8. I started on cycle day 9. And that's according to my old accounting. So yesterday, according to my old accounting, was cycle day 9. And that's when I started to do my OPKs. Normally, I do them on cycle day 8, but my tests are always negative on cycle day 8. I didn't want to waste the tests. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to start on cycle day 9 and we'll go forward. Normally for me, I am negative on cycle day 9, I start to get a rise on cycle day 10, I get my peak on cycle day 11, and then I ovulate cycle day 12. It's pretty predictable for me. But I accounted for cycle day 1 a day late this time, and then I skipped my first day of OPK testing. So anyway, here is what happened when I tested on cycle day 9 yesterday for the first time with OPKs. They were immediately positive. So based off of getting my peak OPK or my positive OPKs so early on a cycle day 9, and given the fact that I accounted for cycle day 1 differently this cycle, I went back into my BBT chart and I updated it for cycle day 1 to be on August 15th. So now, technically, today, I am cycle day 11. So that's a little bit of a mouthful, but I figured I'd put it out there anyway. So I've been getting a buildup of ovulation pains on my right side this time. This will be the first time I will have ovulated on this side in many, many cycles. The last time I ovulated on my right side was early April. At the end of this talking portion, we're going to cut and go to live OPKs for today, cycle day 11, just to see how this all pans out, and maybe I'll put a text picture at the very end of this video just to summarize what ended up happening, but I'm just going to assume that I ovulated today. So with that as a preface, back to my BBT chart, we were intimate on, it says cycle day 8 here. For me at the time, I thought it was cycle day 7, and I thought I was outside of my fertile window. So I didn't know that we were actually in a critical part of my fertile window when we were intimate on that day. And then on top of that, we were intimate yesterday when I got my peak OPK. I don't know if we will attempt anything tonight. We're just gonna have to wait and see. The 2 things that we've done differently this cycle that I just want to document is that, by the way, there's a fly that's terrorizing me right now. So I'm sorry that I'm going crazy. I gave up coffee this cycle. I have not had a lick of coffee since cycle day 1. I did have a raging 24-hour headache for 2 days in a row, which was not fun at all. But sitting right now in the day that I'm at, like 1.5 weeks into this, I feel like I have officially detoxed. I feel like I have completed the withdrawal period of coffee. It's not as difficult now as it was in previous days, but dang, was that really hard. And the second thing I've been doing differently is I started drinking yellow maca root powder again. I have taken this product for TTCing my last 2 kids, and then I was taking it at the very beginning of this journey, but then I quit a few weeks into it because I was getting stomach aches, and then I realized that it was expired. I had to toss that bag. But then I finally just got a new one because I figure if I'm coming off the heels of back-to-back-to-back chemical pregnancies, taking something that's known to nourish your adrenal glands and everything, help bring balance, optimize your body in those respects, that can't hurt. So that's why I'm taking this. Now, to just skip ahead to this piece of work, I went back and forth on contacting my healthcare providers about trying to see if I could get maybe some blood work done or something. Now that I've had a 3rd miscarriage in a row, they say here that they won't do anything for you unless you have 3 in a row. So I've had 3 in a row, and if we are so lucky as to get pregnant again and it actually sticks, I know that having this documented on your file is valuable because it could entitle you to possibly an early ultrasound. And for me, time is of the essence. If I'm having chromosome issues, poor quality embryos, and I get one that sticks and it happens to last past 5 weeks, being able to get a scan at like 7 to 8 weeks to see if things preliminarily look good, that is critical information for me. I don't want to get strung along only to end up learning that I still had like a blighted ovum or something. Like, just to see that there's an actual baby with an actual heartbeat at that time would be so reassuring, as opposed to like finding out I just have an empty sac and it didn't miscarry early, it just stuck around or something. So anyway, I know that there's not much they can do for me. I knew there was not much they can do for me. I went into this with very low expectation, but I decided to do an egenremis, which is, this is what my midwives told me to do. It's you contact the hospital directly and you ask for a time to be seen. You ask for an appointment and you tell them why. So I did that on the off chance that they might be willing to do something for me, blood draws, something like that. But otherwise I could just have it on my file that it's been documented that I'm having this issue so that if I do get pregnant in the future, we can go from there. What I didn't expect was how cold this letter would be. And it opened up a little bit of a can of worms and a conversation with a friend of mine who seems to have a similar situation as me, which I'll talk about in a second. But basically, I'm going to paraphrase the first paragraph. It basically says that in the public healthcare system in our region, they will only investigate miscarriages amongst couples who have maximum 1 kid in between them. I have 3, so that's strike 1. But they also say that for it to even be considered a miscarriage, it needs to have been säkerhetsställda. I don't know what that means. I'll put the translation here. I'm interpreting it to be like confirmed or otherwise like they have said, yes, you were pregnant or whatever, through an ultrasound or some other clinical means. They say, we do not investigate miscarriages that come within a normal menstruation time that were only confirmed using an early positive pregnancy test, a so-called chemical pregnancy. So they won't even count it as a miscarriage if it's just a chemical pregnancy. And so now I'm going to read this word for word because this paragraph really stung. This paragraph hurt. I will put in text down below the translation. It says, då du enligt din egen remiss inte uppfyller kriterierna för missfallsutredning kommer vi inte kalla dig på ett besök hos oss, utan du får, om du önskar utredning, vända dig till privat vård. So, like, this is the issue I'm having with this letter. Nowhere in this did they take the time to just say, sorry, you're having a shitty time. They don't even have my name. They started out with, hey, Tack för din egen remiss. They don't even say, hey Megan, comma. There is no acknowledgement of me as a human in this letter. I am speaking right now to the people who are in charge of writing these letters here. I'm going to offer some suggestions to improve the bedside manner of these letters. Ready? Hey, I'm sorry you're having this experience. Unfortunately, in the public care offered in this region, we have a couple criteria that need to be met before you can get a time to visit us. These are the criteria. Unfortunately, you don't meet these criteria based on your egen remiss. However, that doesn't mean you can't access care. I encourage you, if you like, to go to one of the private facilities offered in this region who would gladly receive you and do further investigation on the matter. Sorry again that you're experiencing this, and good luck. That doesn't take much time to write. It just takes a human heart and a tiny bit of empathy. And you can just make that your template, which is what this feels like. This feels like a template. Just make that your template. It's funny how much impact the words, sorry you're having this experience, and unfortunately, can really convey empathy on someone. It's like they're saying, number one, I'm sorry you're having a shitty time. And number two, I understand this is going to suck, but this is how it is. We can't take you in. The way that this letter is written makes me feel like this woman is mad at me that I asked for an appointment. I feel like an idiot. I feel dumb for even bothering. And moreover, anything else, I feel so selfish. Even though I knew logically that there's not anything they could do, and I more or less expected this, I feel like this person is telling me that I wasted her time.
Duh, you know, like, we have criterias and you clearly don't meet any of them, and you're only having just stupid chemical pregnancies, so they're like not real miscarriages anyway, so if you really want to seek care, go to the private sector.
Because you don't meet our criteria. So you don't get to have a time at us. We're not going to invite you here. That's what it says. We're not going to invite you here. It hurts. Words are very meaningful to me. I am very particular about my words. Words communicate so much more than just what you're trying to say. They communicate so many emotions. Am I being a snowflake, you guys? Like, am I just being a softie? I do have that side to me. I wouldn't be offended if that's what I'm actually being in this situation, because that is a known trait of mine. But to me, like, in your own respective countries, for all of you out there watching, how do you think a message like this would be communicated to you? Do you think you would have gotten a phone call? Do you think it would have been like a letter like this with no, I'm sorry, or unfortunately? Is it just would be straight up, these are the criteria, you don't meet it, so we're not going to invite you here. Go to the private sector if you want help. I don't know, because maybe it's just a cultural thing too. Maybe I'm just a softer, rounder-edged American. I don't know what I was expecting, but that hurt me when I didn't need to be hurt, because I'm already like pretty logical and practical about this matter. And now I feel hurt. And that kind of like segues me into this last little bit. I got into a conversation with a girlfriend of mine about this because she also finds that it's very easy for her to get pregnant and she miscarries super frequently. And she said her midwife said that her uterus appears to have no bouncer, which I thought was so funny. But I have also heard about this somewhere, maybe on a podcast or something. I didn't know about this until just this year. But apparently the uterus has these cells, and I think they're called decidual stromal cells. Don't quote me. But these cells, so like when an embryo that's poor quality, maybe bad chromosomes, bad DNA, not healthy, you know, just otherwise not good, apparently it can emit chemical signals that cells in the uterus can sort of pick up and interpret, and they can reject the embryo from implanting. And so women who find that it's taking them a while to get pregnant, maybe they would have gotten pregnant very easily if their cells weren't picking up on these signals and just rejecting implantation of a poor quality embryo. there are women out there, which apparently maybe I'm one of, my friend says she's one of, who have hyper-receptive or overly receptive uteruses that just don't reject embryos. Like, it seems like they just will implant. They will allow anything that passes by them to implant, pretty much. And then you end up with embryo demise for the reasons why the embryo maybe should have been rejected to begin with. And so she and I were talking about this, and she says that it's been something difficult to deal with because, on the one hand, people say you should feel really grateful that you get pregnant easily, and, you know, at least you know things are working, your tubes are open, semen is getting there, like things are at least working and happening, and I totally agree with that. But it makes it hard to express sadness over the situation, especially for me in my case, because my losses are so early. And I know they're coming from the second I see the first faint line on whatever day I get it. I know it's going to happen. So I was never led on to believe that maybe I would actually get a baby. I kind of just always knew. So I struggle with defining how I feel about this situation. It's just a bummer. The question is, am I entitled to feel bummed about it? I'm not even going to say sad, because sad is a heavy word. But, like, do I feel entitled to be bummed about it? Am I entitled to want to seek care and counsel and investigation? Or am I just a selfish idiot who isn't having a real miscarriage? Because it's just a chemical pregnancy. It's not a real miscarriage. I don't know. It's very weird. It feels dramatic. I don't know how I feel about it. And just logically speaking, I mean, I'm almost 40 and I have 3 kids. So I don't know. I don't feel like I even have a right to be upset about it. But this letter made me feel like shit. Okay? This letter is what's making me feel sad. Because I feel like a selfish idiot. I feel like an idiot. I feel like someone, I just wasted their time. And like, I'm not even, I don't know. I'm not even having a problem, according to them. It makes me feel a certain way, and I don't like it. So, am I entitled to feel this way? Or do I need to grow thicker skin and sack up? Because I can also see that as being a valid opinion on the matter. Maybe I feel that way too, a little bit. Like, come on, get a grip, right? I'm not shedding any tears over this, but I didn't like the way this letter was worded. I feel like a couple unfortunately's and a sorry could have gone a long way. So let's end this vent session. Let's go to the live OPKs and we will just dive into the 2-week wait. There will be pregnancy tests coming up soon, and also the Q&A. I have filmed it. I just need to polish it up and upload it onto YouTube. So that will be coming in the next couple days as well. So thanks for listening to me, you guys, and I will see you all soon.